Hey, before we get started, I just want to do a quick thank you to our top tier YouTube members at our World Champ level: A, Triple Crown, Parma Chisel, Grand Slam Champs, Freak Maniac, and 902, Freak Maniac 90210, and Raz. Make sure you're that top Grand Slam tier. You guys go check out that brand new content that dropped. Tons and tons of 5 questions with ABJ are available right now. Let's get started with episode 130 of the ABJ Podcast, Tantalizing Tony. Here's some music by the Converse Kid.
This is a Ben Frank Connection presentation.
What is going on, everybody? We are live here on today's a Thursday. On a Thursday, the day of the Lord. I don't know. I'm just being funny. But it's episode 130 with Tantalizing Tony. Just before we get through all the stuff, let's get through some housekeeping. Tonight's episode was supposed to be Harleen Lopez. We were supposed to do a review of the movie Saw. She's booked. She's doing some stuff. She was unable to make it tonight, and where she was, her internet wasn't the greatest. So instead of trying to force something and maybe it's not the greatest, we both decided let's push it off for another day. But the review of Saw will be coming. Make sure you guys are checking out all the links below where how to support myself and my guests on social media, whether it be merchandise, all of that. Super chats, tips, and donations are available if you would like to do so. This Saturday at North Pocono High School, I will be doing commentary for New Era Pro Wrestling. Very, very excited for that. Tickets are still available. Even if you can't physically be there and would like to buy a ticket under the donation or a tip from the ABJ Podcast, buy a ticket, send us a screenshot of your ticket stub, and I will make sure that ticket is still available for the general public, and then that will go as a free ticket for somebody at the door, courtesy of the ABJ Podcast. Also, huge thanks to Witchcrafts by Lily, who are sponsoring myself and the dude. So hopefully he brings some gummies because 420 is his birthday. So we're very, very excited for him. That's pretty much all I got on when it comes to the content side. Make sure you guys are hitting like, share, and subscribe. We're very, very close to full monetization on the channel, like less than 50 hours, as well as on Spotify. We're about 6 subscribers on Spotify to be able to open up donations and monthly subscriptions over on that side. So if you guys would like, please go to those platforms, like, share, subscribe, as well as my guest here tonight. Listen, this is a long overdue podcast. One of the people who helped me get a lot of exposure on me, helped me get a lot of eyes on me, was my guest tonight. We used to do a lot of watch alongs together, and watching, all pro wrestling, talking pro wrestling. Then we used to do some movie talks and just general conversations. We have our ups and downs. I'm sure we'll dive into all of that as well. But he just recently hit 10,000 subscribers over on his YouTube channel. So he is on a quest now to get that 100,000 so he can get that fancy plaque. So I want to definitely get some eyes on him. He's always telling me to go with the trends, Tony. Go what's popular. Who cares if it's not the content you want to make? Well, the irony is you are the trend, my friend. So without further ado, let me bring in my trending topic, Tantalizing Tony.
It's so hard to be on this side because I'm not the host. I'm not controlling the timing here. But let me just say this. Just so you guys know, I'm talking in my Cody Rhodes kind of voice here.
Okay.
Hey, first of all, let me thank you for having me. All jokes aside, if people said up and downs, and we'll get into that, pretty sure Anthony Blackwell Jr. has his questions for me. But I want to say this, and this goes out to everybody who has a grudge or somebody. It's probably misunderstanding the way you're feeling, the way that person's feeling, and then the truth in the middle. So my advice to you is don't let time pass by. Talk things out right away, because you'll let your ego and your mind and your heart get the better of you, and you waste precious time with somebody, and that happened between Anthony and myself, where there was a lot of miscommunication and there was some animosity, and there's definitely some creative
differences.
differences here with how we do our things, and I'm good with that. He's good with his thing, but it's very healthy rivalry we have here. If he was to make it in the big time before me, I'd be glad for him. I would ask for a job, and if I had a job, I'd hook him up too. Just everybody, just try to.
I'd pay Kira enough that she can take care of you as well.
There it is. There it is.
You know.
But thanks for having me.
The real talent of the Tantalizing Tony show.
Bro, she does everything. And let me just say this to you. Your opening's great. I'm jealous of that. And the way you open it up and bring everybody in, let me bring my guests and blah, blah. I'm very upset I don't have that gift. So kudos to you.
Yeah. But yeah, so you are a content creator, over on the YouTube side of things. You like to watch pro wrestling. It kind of, we'll kind of take this journey in a minute. I don't want to bury the lead too much, but we met through that space. I believe you were live one day, and I think I was in the chat, and I was like, hey, I'm also a content creator. And you're like, well, you want to join? And then we somehow got each other to get a link to each other, and you brought me in, and you liked my gravitas, as you like to say. And
that is a Richie. That is a I have to give him credit. That is a triple R colloquialism. Gravitas. That's his word. So
yeah. But anyway, so you brought me in, and the rest has kind of been history. And I honestly think what makes us good as a team, especially talking pro wrestling, is we are insanely opinionated, but when it comes to conversation about really any topic, we don't we understand when we're on camera and we got to get the job done, whether it's my channel or your channel. Like there's never a spot, even when I was live on your camera, where I was just like, that chemistry, we knew. It's almost like two wrestlers, right? They want to legit fight each other, but when they're in between the ropes, they know they have to protect each other because there's something bigger at hand. And we always find a way to do that. I think that's what makes great content, because we do bounce off each other, and we are so wildly different in everything. You know what I'm saying? But what makes us different makes us special.
You know what's so crazy about that is that we are actually Sean and Brett.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
because I'm a Brett guy and you're a Sean guy. And we're literally like that, because Brett is because he's old school. He wants things done he thinks everything should be his way. And Sean's like, bro, we're not going at that route. We're going to try this way. And, blah, 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 let the cards fall where they may and whatever. And I'm more like, you better respect me. I want respect. But he don't want to give. Brett doesn't want to give respect unless he gets a lot first.
Yeah,
and that's
a lot.
That's like me. I'm an ego like Brett. I'm not gonna lie. But you're like Sean, where you throw caution to the wind, controlled, but you're like the best. You're best at what you do. Like if we had to rate you on a 1 to 10 scale, I would say you're a 10, and I'm an 8.5 when it comes to creating content, like doing what you do. Now, when it comes to charisma and, of course, good looks, I get a 20. I'm just saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
No, but we do complement each other because of the very healthy rivalry. But the rivalry isn't a bad thing, because it pushes me to do better. So,
yeah, it's definitely we take the energy of the rivalry, and I never had, on my end, I never had negativity when it came to, you getting numbers and success. Like there's times where I'm like, man, if like maybe I don't not that when I say this, I'm not saying that you made me want to quit, but like I used to get frustrated at that style of content, because I was like, man, it's such an easy grab. Like almost like the stupid artist, right? Like anyone can just put a white painting on the wall and sell it for $8 million, and then you work your ass off on something else, and it's just like $2, and you're like, why is my art not catching? You know what I mean? Like, but I had to learn that there's two sides of that coin when it comes to art, right? Like there's the art that's universally liked by everybody, and there's leaning into that style of art to make your money and be an artist. But then there's artists who also they have to realize that even though it's not the general idea of art, it's going to be art to somebody, but probably a lot less than the mainstream art, and that's where we kind of have that difference.
No, I agree with you 100%. It's that we have a give and take thing too. I will say one thing. This is derogatory to us, Anthony. Anthony gets on a tangent. He'll go. He will not shut up. He will.
Oh yeah, 100%.
You got to get in there, because he will make a point and it will go on and on. But the thing about it is, because he has so much knowledge, so it challenges you. Like, oh man, I get in here now. So someone like me, it ain't. People think it's easy to do what I do. It's not. It's not easy being Tantalizing Tony. It's not. It's I have a lot of pressure on me. Like, you guys would be shocked on how much pressure it is to be me all the time.
Yeah. I go to shows and I don't really go hard in the paint when it goes to outward energy, if that makes sense. Where it's like you're very animated, you yell, you scream, you get everyone's attention, and that's insane to me because I do less than that and I don't do any of that. I'm more of like I put so much of my emotion in, which is almost I put as much emotion into and like internal thought and energy into myself as you do your external. And then after like WrestleMania week, bro, that took me almost like 8 days to get like good again. Like I was like a day or two after a wrestling show, I go into a fog. But I also learned a lot when like was my speaking and stuff is definitely catered to my ADHD and ADD that I'm learning more about as I get older, because it's a situation where I want to make sense, but I over explain to make sense, if that makes sense.
It does. You should
A
know.
lot of sense being said here.
Guys, if you're watching me right now, I am sharing this with every group I belong to. I belong to like 45 groups, so I'm hitting share them live now. Because you do it live, they all, some people jump in. I'm so much of a control freak. I kept clicking the chat to try to
pop up. Yeah.
I'm not in control of this.
I don't really put a lot of chats up until
the
question extra comes, because I do keep the structure of the podcast, and most podcasts don't read a live chat the entire time, because like if someone's in their car listening and they weren't here live, it's a completely different experience depending on how that's my visual aspect to it. Like podcast but yeah, so when you started in the wrestling business, wanting to be in the business, you were a super fan. You made sure you were at every single show. It's almost like that situation, like what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So for you, was it like did the fandom and the way to make content come at the same time? Or not to make content, the fandom and wanting to be in the business, did that happen at the same time? Or was like, how did that balance come?
It's so crazy because I was not a wrestling fan as a kid until my uncle Andy, who is now passed away 40 years, took me to my first match as a kid. I got to see Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson beat the Samoans for the tag team championship, and I loved it. He loved the wrestling. When he passed away, he took me to the first WrestleMania, and he passed away after the first WrestleMania. I promised him that I would go to as many WrestleManias as possible, and to this day, I've gone to a few.
Yeah,
I've gone to a few, but I never wanted to be in the business. Like I always thought I could wrestle, but I never really knew how to go about doing it. There was no wrestling schools where I was from. I'm from Brooklyn, bro. I didn't know about Johnny Rods and all that. So I didn't know. The internet wasn't around. So I got lucky at I went to Monday Night Raw, the first Raw, in 1993, January of 93, at the Manhattan Center. And I bumped into some guys from Long Island: Paul Loria, Kevin Flynn, Mike Norman, Craig Boscia, a few more guys, Mike Devaney, Robert Franklin came onto that later, Showtime Boscia. And it was the weirdest thing. They'd see me at the arena. I was sitting front row, going crazy, doing my shtick, because I could always talk like Macho Man Randy Savage, so I would do it for everybody. And they met me outside. They said, "Hey, bro, you want to learn how to wrestle?" I was like, "Sure." We have a ring in our backyard. I didn't know they had backyard wrestling. I didn't even know what that was. I never heard of it. And I was like, "Sure." They said, "Well, what's your wrestling name going to be?" I was like, "What? I need a name right now?" "Yeah. What's your wrestling name?" So we're in Penn Station, and back in the day, Penn Station, you had these little stands where right now they have kiosks, but they used to be stands back in the day, back in the 90s when I was a kid. And there was a perfume stand, and there was a bottle of perfume, and it said, "Ode de Tantalizing." And I said, "I'm Tantalizing Tony." And Tantalizing Tony was born that day in January 93. And I went to Long Island. And from that point on, they, Mikey Ripwreck, of course, was one of those other people that was there. They trained me how to wrestle in a couple months. I was athletic. I played football, so I was athletic. I bumped, and it wasn't like a real mat. It was like tight mattresses, so it was softer bumps, so you could do it. And I was actually good. I could talk, and I always loved the wrestling. I always loved wrestling. Loved it. I was at, the Raws in '93, but I was at the first WrestleMania. I was at the first SummerSlam. I was at a lot of things, and I just fell in love with it. And when I realized, wait a minute, I could do this. This is my way in, So I always thought that it's just tough because I'm just looking back now. I'm trying to relive what was that day. I don't remember the exact day, but I always knew I could talk because where I'm from Brooklyn. I have a mouth. I always knew I could do something in wrestling if I ever had a shot, but there was just not a lot of opportunities. So, but I've always been in love with the business. I hope this is answering the question. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, you're good.
I've always been in love with the business. I always thought I was better than a lot of people I saw. I mean, the 90s was rough with Duke the Dumpster Drosy and Manitou. I was like, these guys are terrible. Like, what are you kidding?
They're big. They're huge.
They're
dudes.
huge. They're huge dudes. But I don't know why I love this business so much. I guess it is my uncle because I didn't have a father growing up. I never had a dad. My dad was a mess. Never knew him. Met him twice my whole life. And my uncle was my father figure. So I think because he loved wrestling so much, I think it just passed over to me. And at 56 years old, I'm still the biggest wrestling fan. Before I'm anything, before I'm Tantalizing Tony, before I'm a content creator, before I love wrestling. I love the stories. I love that I'm a soap opera guy too. I love that I'm a big Dynasty fan and a big All My Children fan. And
I don't think I've ever seen those.
Anyway,
my mom growing up was the Days of Our Lives.
Okay, so same thing.
What was the no, it was more like it was a paranormal. It had a lot of paranormal elements.
Oh, Dark Shadows.
No. It was still like a Days of Our Lives, but there was like a talking doll at one point.
Passions.
Okay, yeah.
It was passion. So I like soap operas. I've always liked soap operas for some reason. I always have. And to me, wrestling is a soap opera. It's just ongoing. If you look at General Hospital, it's been going on 55 years. It will not stop. Wrestling is every week, 52 weeks a year. It doesn't stop. There's no off season, and I had no off switch. So that's why I love it so much.
Yeah, no. Honestly, probably the reason why my mom was so accepting of me watching wrestling, because she was kind of into it as well. My dad was into it at one point, but definitely come from parents who were soap opera fans. Like my dad watched soap operas too. Sorry to out you there, but yeah, like that was like they're like, oh, this is like pro wrestling, and it was kind of thought in that vein. Like I never had families who treated it as if it was like a sport or like it was very, very well known. Like even as a kid, I was told like this is theatrics. And like here's the NFL, NBA, and then this is pro wrestling, and it's different. So like even as a kid, I was kind of always smartened up, but it didn't deter me, if that makes sense. The only time it ever got me though, and I've said this before on the podcast, is when the snake bit Macho Man, because as a kid I knew, that was a cobra and that was a venomous snake, and commentary did such a good job of reiterating that, and then like him being bit was a big deal. Like he can die, you know what I mean? Like, and as a kid I was like, oh, that's like Jake's the first guy to make me think this guy's probably going off script or something, you know what I mean? Like he got me. But yeah, so when you at what point in your career did you realize I'm gonna dial down from pro wrestling, and then what happened in between the gap of your pro wrestling and then picking up on your content? Because your content wise, you're what, 2 years in?
2 years in.
Yeah.
There's a long stretch of me not doing anything.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I wrestled from 1993 until 2000 and I want to say 2 or 3. Not sure exactly because my matches got lighter and lighter. But I started out in Long Island at Holbrook Wrestling Alliance. That's in like Deer Park, basically. And they changed over to Hardcore Wrestling Alliance, which is part of the reason why NYWC even exists today. Matt Cardona and Brian Myers actually used to watch us wrestle as kids. I wrestled in Pittsburgh. I was actually the light heavyweight champion in USCW. That's United States Championship Wrestling out of Pittsburgh. I was on TV every week. I was a household name in Pittsburgh.
And you know who has all that footage and puts it up on his YouTube channel?
Joe Dombrowski.
Joe Dombrowski. Yes.
Shout out to Joe Dombrowski.
Keeping wrestling alive, history wrestling.
Bro, yeah, I couldn't believe he had that match. I was like, wow. I was a household name in Pittsburgh. Like, I would go wash my clothes at the laundromat, and kids would go, Tantalizing Tony, you don't have a maid? You don't have a mansion? I was like, no, I'm wrestling in the VA lodge. But I was really popular in a city called Cannonsburg, PA, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, where a lot of people, I used to do public speaking because of my wrestling. And I was huge. And I was, at that time, I was married to someone else, and we had a terrible relationship. And because of the relationship, I left Pittsburgh. I might have made it. My life might be different if I stayed, but I just couldn't be around the toxicity I was around. So I left, and I wrestled independent. A lot of places in New Jersey, East Coast, pro wrestling, a lot of places, and just I fizzled out. Always went to matches. Always went to WrestleMania. And just was happy with being a super fan, like trying to get on TV, cut promos. I've been in a lot of WrestleMania promos, a lot. I can remember WrestleMania 29 in MetLife. They got me cutting a promo, and then I started figuring out if I get to the right place, right time, I get here every year. And if you notice, I'm in a lot of things. When Sting lost to Triple H at WrestleMania 31, I'm in that clip. I'm in a lot of things, and it just. I never thought I would have a chance.
You real fast. You showed me a clip that you insist is you, and I remember you showed it to myself and Kira, and we're like, you can't tell that because so the shot is at WrestleMania 10. Yeah. One of my favorite WrestleManias because it has two of my favorite matches of all time on it. It has, which is funny because I'm not a Brett guy, but it has Brett versus Owen, and it has Shawn and Razor ladder match. But there's a shot which is kind of odd for pro wrestling to do. They would do it a little bit back in the day, and then they got away from almost altogether unless it was a big event. But they put a camera up in the crowd, up in the very, very top level. They do it a lot of hockey games and stuff because they want to get that huge crowd environment. But it was a panning shot of the audience, and there's a guy who just stands up, and it's not because of your complexion. It's because the way it's lit, it's a blackout thing. So all you see is just shadows of anybody anyway. And then a shadow stands up holding a belt, and you're like, that's me. And we're like, anyone could take credit for that.
It was me. It was me. I remember the exact time because my friend Mike Norman makes replicas. He made them in the 90s before anybody did replicas. That's how I know it's me, because I had the IC title in my hand. And he gave that to me. He gifted that to me. So, yeah, I can't pinpoint why I'm doing what I'm doing now. I know COVID happened, and I was sitting at home for 8 months because I work for the state. I drive a bus. And I'm like, I had tried once before and quit. Because I thought, I'm so great. I'm so charismatic. I'm going to get 100,000 subscribers like that. Nobody watched that show. I was like, I'm done. I quit.
After one?
After one. And that happens a lot with me with my life. I've quit a lot of things. I've quit a lot of things where I could probably be successful at this point, but I've quit. That's why 10,000 was so important to me. So, but once COVID happened, I was home sitting around. I said, I'm going to try it. And I bought a phone from Amazon and an extra phone. I did it on my phone first. And if you go back and look at my show from 2 years ago, they're crappy compared to now, which is much better. And I got to thank Anthony for my upgrades on a lot of things, because microphones, cameras, everything, I'm lightning, everything. But I started looking at content, and it's going to sound real conceited to me. I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts, a lot of wrestling shows. I'm sorry. If you're watching this, and I apologize if you have a show, most of your stuff's trash. I watch some of these guys that just are not good.
All right, can I maybe pose? It's not that maybe it's trash. It's just you feel you can do a better job.
No, it's trash.
Okay,
that's trash. I won't call names, but there's a lot of trash out there.
There's some people who God bless their heart. They're trying.
I don't care. They're terrible. I mean, listen, people tell me when I suck, I take it. I do. You know, so many people are terrible.
That's the coach in me, man. I see a kid on my team who can't kick a ball, and then I'm like, by the end of the year, he's gonna be one of my best players in the team, and I always get it done. You know what I mean? But it's hard. You know what I mean?
Forget that. I don't care. I don't care who I offend at this point. I'm 56 years old. I've paid my dues at this point. I don't care. You know, look, there's a lot of content creators there who are terrible. I was one of them.
Yeah, that's the thing too. You have to be able to look at yourself in any aspect or any form, especially if you want to get entertainment or you want to get art or even the wrestling business, and you have to self-reflect sometimes. And sometimes that's hard because sometimes you were like me, who self-reflects too hard and doesn't realize that you are talented and won't listen to anyone who tells you. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some people who are the opposite, who are not good. Like, I mean, American Idol is a great example where someone thinks they are a fantastic singer, and everyone around them says, you're good, you're good, you're good. And then they go and embarrass themselves on television. And that's their dose of reality in front of millions of people. Like, at least for us, it's in front of 16, 12, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's one of those things where people think that they're really, really talented, but they haven't had someone who was honest with them.
And that's why I'm stuck with it, because I knew there were only 5 people.
I can't be the one to be honest with you. So if I probably said you're good, there might be an opportunity I lied to you.
But that's what drove me, because I was like, okay, only 5 people watching, so I only suck in front of 5 people. Yeah. Oh, I know how bad I was. My sound was terrible. My camera shot was terrible. My show was terrible. But I knew that I have one thing a lot of people don't have. I have charisma. Listen, let's just be honest here, okay? I try to stay humble about it, but I'm not going to stay humble anymore about it, okay?
Don't do it, yeah.
I have a natural charisma that people don't have. I have no fear. I will go into any arena, any supermarket, anywhere. I go into the ladies' lingerie section and say, hey, 36C. All right, sister, that looks good on you. I don't care, because if you don't take your shot, who's going to see you? Like, this is a friend of mine taught me this, an older guy to hang out with back in Brooklyn. I was scared of girls. I would not talk to them. He's like, yo, and I used to go by Anthony. I wasn't Tony yet. Anthony, you're a good-looking kid. Why don't you have a girlfriend? I don't talk to girls, bro. They'll shoot me down. Well, how many girls have you talked to? None. Well, bro, if you don't talk to any, how are you gonna know? He goes, look, bro.
Now you can't stop. Look at you.
Hey, listen. He goes, if you talk to 100 girls, right? 99 are gonna say no, but that one might be the one. I was like, wow. And if you multiply that on a scale of 1 million, you know, everybody's afraid. Everybody on earth is scared of something. Nobody has courage about everything. Someone's scared of something. But I noticed something about the wrestling business. If you act like you belong there, they don't bother you. Let me tell you something. Hopefully, nobody's watching this. Well, yeah. So at 2300 Arena, right? Tim Embler, who runs Icons, right? Icons of Wrestling. Yeah. Give me carte blanche to do whatever I want. He doesn't own the building, but security sees me at everything. Bro, I walk in the back with the talent. I walk right in. I walk in with Kira. I walk right in. Hey, what's up, everybody? I say, hey, oh man, looks great. Yo, did you guys check the ring? Oh, I act like I belong there. If you act like you belong somewhere, guess what? You belong there. And people
tell them how you got free parking at the one show.
Listen, which time?
The one where you use the Tantalizing World Championship.
So I had the title belt, right? And I say, hey, I go, look, where's oh my God, on my pass. I said, look, man, I gotta get this belt backstage quick. They need it for tonight. They're like, oh, you part of the show? Yeah, man, it's the world title. I gotta get it there. Go on, man, go through. Drive me right there. Bro, I always have a gimmick. I always have listen, you gotta have an angle in this world. If you don't have one, you're just left behind. You gotta look, Paul Heyman used to sneak into the Garden as a photographer. He wasn't a photographer, he's just some kid. And I look at Paul Heyman, he's a Hall of Famer. He act like he belonged there, and he rubbed elbows with people, and now look at him today. So I don't. Adam says I act like I belong to ABJ chat. Well, you do belong here.
Everyone belongs here, yeah.
And hello to everybody in the chat. I know this is podcast room, but hi to everybody. And hello to my daughter Lucy. I love you, Jasmine. Yeet. But yeah, I just feel like you gotta shoot your shot and not be afraid. Because look, this is the way I look at it. I don't go home with these people. If someone slams door on my face, I'm gonna see them tomorrow. You know, well, I live with these jabronis, but just
no. I'm just saying, back in the day, you might have went home with a couple people. Yeah.
Hey now.
Tony's got like 700 kids.
It's not. Listen, there's a very. Here's the thing, guys. Everybody gives me a hard time, and I'm going to tell you guys a little story real quick. So, everybody, Anthony, all my friends, they say, "Oh, you got so many kids." So, back in the day, guys, there were families that would have 9, 10, 11 kids. Okay.
Oh, I come from one. I come from my mom's side is like 9 or 8 or something.
There it is.
Yeah.
So, I have a few children. Okay, I will name them for you. Okay, I have Anthony.
You got a roster.
I have a roster.
You have a basketball team and subs.
There's kids that you guys don't know about because we are estranged. Some I've never done on this show ever, even on my own show. There's Anthony, Terrell, Justin, Kyla, Bobby, Kira, Mike, and there's another one, Hallie. There's another kid out there.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
Listen, there's a part of my life there's like a window in my life I don't speak about because it's very dark and it's very
everyone goes through it. I'm probably in mine right now.
So I don't lie, but I leave stuff out.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for it.
Business.
Other people will be hurt if I mention other people, so that's why I don't do it. But
that's understandable.
I have a few kids, and I have 4 grandchildren. And here's the thing, guys. I have a lot of kids, but if you ask my children what kind of dad I am, they'll tell you I'm probably the best dad they ever had. I've never been in child support court, not once. No woman has ever taken me to child support court ever because there's no need. Because I take care of my kids. So I have a few. I have a basketball team and some reserves, but it's cool.
Yeah. So when you first started doing the content, if people go back once again and they watch some of your old content, you were a bigger dude, much bigger dude.
400 pounds.
400 bills. You were rocking Big Show weight.
400. And now
at about what, 5'10"?
What? 5'7".
I gave you a little bit.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate it. I should have said 5. No, 5'7" at 400 pounds, like a giant Humpty Dumpty.
So when you started your content, because that's the thing. Like when I first started, I actually probably gained weight because I was not eating great. I was putting a lot of, I don't know the time or the schedule you were putting in, if you were doing the same then as you are now, but like, how are you able to maintain the content aspect, the weight loss prospect, your job, and also a larger family? Like that's bonkers to me.
So here's what happened. I was already gaining weight before COVID happened. I had a back injury, non-wrestling related. I fell out of a window in 2006 and broke a bone in my back. I mean, let me tell you, I was in great shape my entire life, even into my 40s. I was fit. Broke a bone in my back, and it's just harder to move around, harder to work out. I became a bus driver in 2006. Right after I started healing, I became a bus driver out here in Delaware. And what are you doing on the bus all day? You sit and you eat, and you sit and you eat. And you really don't know how much weight you're gaining until next you know, I can't breathe walking up the stairs. I'm like, my God. COVID comes, depression, not working, home in the house all day, can't do anything. That's why I started doing YouTube as like an outlet to talk to other people. But I saw myself on camera, and my face was the circles under my eyes were so dark, and my neck and my jaw, my jowls, it was like my head was like this size of a giant boulder. I was like, what the hell? Me and Kira did a TikTok when TikTok first came out of and Kira's my daughter, everybody. She's my producer. She's 19. We're all in this together from High School Musical. We're all in, and I could see how big I was when I tried to spin. I took the whole camera. I was like, no. I was like, no way. I got to do something. Went to the doctor. The doctor told me, you're going to die. He goes, you're going to stroke out and die any day. I said, get out of here. Went home that night, went to sleep. I woke up choking because I couldn't breathe. Call that doctor next day. I want to get gastric sleeve surgery. And I committed myself to do it while I was still doing my content. It was tough. It was scary. I had no support from my family at that time. My kids really they couldn't understand. And their mom and I were not doing good. That's a very weird relationship that we have. But she was just checked out, and I had nobody.
The thing is, one of the things I actually learned about people who go through massive weight loss or weight loss surgery, they said it's like a 80% chance of divorce. Like when one person in the relationship loses a large amount of weight in one time. And it's not because like they're losing weight because they want to go and leave that person. It's just the stress that it causes on everyone around you, and the person going through it is a lot. And it changes dynamics. It changes because like when you're in a relationship, you're used to seeing somebody a certain way. Like there's a lot of mental aspect to like large weight loss and relationship problems.
Yeah, well, me and her weren't even you can't even see we were in a relationship, really. It just wasn't even that. We cohabitated basically.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm not gonna say. Listen, I will say this about my kid's mom, Trevina. She's a good woman. Loves her children. Loved me too. It's just that some people don't deal with things the way you want to deal with them, and that might have been on me. Like it's my journey. You can't expect people to be on the same journey as you and to help you. It wasn't her that got fat; it was me. So I basically, it was either, like they say in the Shawshank Redemption, get busy living or get busy dying. And I wanted to live. I got a little guy, and that's what really changed it for me, because he said, "Dad, let's go run." And I couldn't go run with him. I couldn't run. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't play with him. I couldn't run. I couldn't even bend down and pick him up. And it hurt me bad. Like it hit me like, wow. Like with Bobby's now 22. I ran with him, played ball with him, did stuff with him. Couldn't do anything with Mike. And I said, I got to get healthy. And I figured that I'd be accountable for my weight loss if I did YouTube, because people would see me.
Yeah.
So I used that as like a motivation. So I got my surgery May 21st of 2021, almost 3 years. And sporadically did some stuff on YouTube. And then when I started to get like to the point where I was going to really know I was going to do it, I would do videos where I take my one shirt off. I was in a 5X. I actually got down to a large. I'm in an XL now, but got down to a large. And I actually did this in front of the camera live. I put all these shirts on. The 5X, took it off, the 4X, the 3X, the 2X, down to the large. And it was like the biggest accomplishment of my life. Like I was so, because I went from 400 to maybe 190 in under a year. That's lost it because I was in the gym clanging and banging every day. And I gained some back on purpose because I didn't look good skinny. I'm at 240 right now. I want to get down to maybe 220 and I'll be happy. But YouTube kept me accountable, because if I'm going to do this journey, show people, I got to produce. Because people tell you, oh, you're still fat. There's people in my life tell me, oh, you're fat. You got a big butt. Okay, I know.
You know what gets me as well too, and this is not me trying to be mean, but like I look at like the people who are on top when it comes to like interviews and personalities on TV and getting opportunities, and like I'm not trying to be mean, but we're in a body image. Like you can't be a overweight dude, not clean kept, at least something, without having a little bit of attraction to you to get on a camera. Like they're not going to take some basement dweller dude who's on YouTube talking wrestling and give you an opportunity. And some people probably won't take you serious because you're low.
And listen, I'm still struggling with my weight, like trying to get down a little bit. It's not, listen, I'm 56. It is not easy to lose 20 pounds. It's not, because I don't have time to work out every day. I have a family. I've got my channel. I got to sleep. I have a job, but what I can do, I can do. I had a trainer working with Say from Team Swell. I stopped working for a little while. I'll be back with him soon, but I'm still, as you can see, maintaining. I got little traps right there. I'm very proud of my traps.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get rid of the man boobs. It's not, it's not easy, but
that's why I wear black a lot. White, bold choice. I like it.
Listen, I went for it. I got little guns. I'm trying to be accountable. It's not easy. But I'm here, bro. I'm here. I'm here trying to do this job we have. This is a job. It is hard work.
whether it pays or not for some people. It's a job. Now you do this and you start doing the content, Lou and the weight loss, and the entire time you're essentially making content with your family, and you're bringing, Jasmine on at certain points, and Bobby and Kira. Now, how has that impacted the family, whether it came to like your hard times of all of kind of going through the content aspect of things, and then now as a family being proud that you all hit 10K together? Because even though it is your name and this is your channel, it is 1000% a team effort in that household.
Yeah, it is. And you said hard times. Speaking of hard times, so Kira was tricked into doing this. I tricked her. So I told this story last week on my show, or maybe in your show when we were talking about everything. But let me just tell you real quick what I did. There's a show called Glee that Kira loves, and Glee is a story about, of course, a Glee club. And Corey Monteith, who played Finn Hudson on the show, was a star quarterback. Mr. Schuster, who is the Glee teacher, the music teacher, tricked him. He planted drugs on him so he could
on Glee.
On Glee, he planted drugs on him so that he could blackmail him into being on the Glee squad.
Wow.
He goes, I won't tell, and you can stay on the football team if you join the Glee club. Because he wanted
your ass off.
Yeah, you got to dance and sing, you son of a. But he wanted people to see Finn, the high school quarterback, the star, singing, so people would be drawn to the Glee club. So I used that. Since Kira loves Glee, I said, you know what?
You planted drugs on your kid?
Almost, no. But I tricked her. I tricked her. Kira is the most clean-cut person.
I know. I can't even get her to curse, even when you get her mad. I kicked her once. She wouldn't budge.
She will not curse. She won't. She gets mad though, but she won't curse. But I tricked her. I said, Kira, listen, I just need help for a day or two. I can't see well up my right eye. I just need you to do the chat for me. And then it was a week. Then a week later, I said, Kira, I got to go to the bathroom. Kira, just go on screen real quick. So I'm going to be right back. And then little by little, I got her in front of the camera and I tricked her. Next thing you know, she starts really paying attention to what's going on. And she started liking it. So I tricked her.
And it's funny because like, I think like when I first joined, she watched wrestling. I don't think she gave really she didn't care too much about it, like because I remember like at certain times some people in the chat used to be like, yo, this girl, like everyone she'd fill in, like she wouldn't read it. I don't think it would bother her, but they would say stuff like no knowledge, she doesn't know what she's talking about, like how is this a wrestling channel? And like unless she was awesome at hiding it, but she never looked fazed by it. And then maybe another interview for another day, we have Kira on, but like now she's hosting pay-per-view watch-alongs, but she did like a 6-hour stream one time and didn't care about wrestling for that most of that stream. She did it because she was being a team player for her dad. Like my early days of wrestling, like she was into it, but she wasn't. Now, compared to where when I first met you to where Kira is now as a wrestling fan, it is a huge difference. Huge difference. But yeah, so like that's my favorite aspect of your content and you guys is just like that bonding aspect. You know what I mean? Like especially because I know some stuff behind the scenes as well that I won't get into, but like where like you have a falling out or you have a disagreement or you don't see the same things the same way. And we know that off camera, but on camera, like your love for this weird business of professional wrestling. That's why people say like, I don't get how you like pro wrestling. Like pro wrestling's stupid. It's this. When you're into anything, it could be anything. It could be Harry Potter. It could be hats. It could be t-shirts. It could be anything. If you find a common love with something, or if that one thing or piece of art makes you feel to a point where it becomes more than just the art, like pro wrestling, like has changed your family's life. Like it's weird to think about.
Yeah, it's crazy because here's the thing. She always watched it casually. Mm-hmm. She watched the major pay-per-views. She's been to WrestleManias. Her first WrestleMania was 27. They know I love wrestling, so they've been to Manias, but she wasn't into it like that. Like she loves certain things. But I'll tell you this, and this goes for Bobby Big Bucks, who's just left, and Michael as well, and also Jasmine. My plan. This was part of my plan, believe it or not. I don't want to sound like, this was a whole major plan, but it was to try to get us closer to do something together because I'm not the kind of dad. Look, I go to everything. I go to the recitals. I go to the games. I'm that dad. I go to the choruses. I do that. But they never got to see what I did wrestling. They never seen my match in person. They've never seen me in the ring, other than working out in the ring, running the ropes, taking bumps. So I figured that this was a way for them to see my passion, and they could understand me better. And I think that once Kira saw how much this meant to me, she's like, my dad never got his dreams to come true. And it's true, I haven't. My main thing was to show them that no matter how old you get, you can still make your dreams come true. You still can achieve your dreams. Them being in their 20s, Kira will be 20 in June, that they have so much of their life to make things happen. They can change the world still. So my plan was to, of course, listen, I want that plaque. I want that $100,000, I want that 100,000 subscriber plaque like you have no idea. Like
It'd be
10,000.
nice. I agree. It'd be cool to have it like sent.
Oh my
somewhere there,
God. You have no idea. People say you shouldn't, of course I'm not going to worship a false idol like they say, but it just would show everybody that, yo, you're wrong about me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people doubt me in my life, and people say you shouldn't care. That is such bull crap, because I have feelings. And people are like, oh, I don't care what they say. It hurts.
It hurts when it comes from people that you're like, at the end of the day, anytime you're trying to do something, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if you agree,
no.
Like even in aspects of me, like, oh, I want you to play football growing up. And I was like, but I like soccer and I want you to like this as well. And you're kind of secretly wanting that attaboy. You're secretly wanting that, like, hey, I'm proud of you. That, you know what I mean? Like, and sometimes, like, even with me, sometimes I get it, but it's not always from the person I'm looking for at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like, I don't care what people think of me, but also like when I respect you and you don't, like, that sucks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, it does. And I'll be honest with you. And this is a touchy subject with me. Is my mom. My mom and I do not get along. My mother is still alive. My mother is in her 70s. If she knew I was talking about right now, how old she is, she'd have a fit, but she's 73, 74. She might not think so, but I'll be honest with you, I love my mom. I do, I love her. But I think I believe, from my point of view, I had a terrible upbringing. I believe I had a terrible upbringing. I don't know if you would call it abusive. Yeah, you would call it abusive.
Like my
you call it abusive. His mom said I like that. I always felt not having a father and not having a mother who seemed like she supported what I did. Like, I used to have to sneak to be in the football team. My mother was very strict. Like, people think I'm strict with my kids. They have no idea. My mother was very strict with me. I was on a football team for 2 years. She never even knew it. I mean, how do you get away with that? You know what I mean? I was in the glee club. I was in chorus. I was in different things that she never came to. Like, I did a solo. I was in Grease. I was in the play Grease. I played Dodie. He's the one that sings that song. What's that playing on the radio? I had to learn how to play the guitar. I didn't know how to play 4 chords. Never played an instrument in my life. I had to sneak the guitar home and play in the room quietly. Of course, she would have my head like. I have a brother who's 40 years younger than me. Love him to death. Help raise him. We're not close. We love each other. We're not close. Like I would like to be. He lives in Jersey. He has his own life. I have my life. If I ever need him, he'd be there for me. But I felt like that as a kid, I was made to be an adult too fast, taking care of him. Nothing against him. My mom did work 2 jobs. Don't get me wrong. She supported me. She kept a roof over my head. But there's times before that before she met my stepdad, who is my brother's father, where she was single and she basically wasn't home that much. She was partying, hanging out, left me with my uncle a lot. And we make mistakes as young people. I'm not mad at that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm upset that she never seemed like anything I did mattered. You know what I mean? And believe it or not, at 56 years old, it still hurts to this day because she sees my channel. She sees what I do. You can't miss what I do. You know, I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere now. And she doesn't even give me a call. Like, you know what? I saw your show. Because I know my brother. My brother comments on everything. My brother comments on everything on Instagram. Talk to him. He called me on my birthday. Talked to me. Goes, oh, I saw you in Vegas. You're doing great. My mother's right in the house. It's right next to him. You think she would say, you know, good job. Like, just an attaboy. Never got that. And it affects me. It affects me to this day where that's why I'm obsessed with getting notoriety. I feel that if I had gotten the support that other people got, I'd have been IC champ. And I'm not being funny. I was a good enough mat wrestler, along with my ability to speak and my charisma, that could have been IC champion. I really believe it. I mean, there's been some IC champions that are low suspect. Let's be honest. There's some people in the ring right now that, you know, they're okay. In my prime in Pittsburgh, I was good. I wasn't doing no Hurricane Rollins and all that stuff, but I could tell a story in the ring, and I think they've given a chance. You know, I wish there was NXT when I was coming up. Jeez. You know, I tried out for Tough Enough 5 times, got to the final cut every time. I'm not a big guy. You know, I was never a muscle-bound guy. I'm not 6 feet tall. They're not going to pick a 5'7" normal guy unless he's a luchador. You know, I was a 5'7" mat wrestler, technical wrestler that looks like this.
Did you try out when it was in WWE New York?
Yeah. I met Eddie Guerrero there. Eddie Guerrero signed my WWF Stone Cold title there. And told me don't quit, you know? Crazy. Yeah. But I never felt like I had that support as a kid. And I think it drives me to this day. I'm still trying to catch up. And people don't realize.
Fueled by spite.
Yeah. I have a lot of people to say F you to, like, because there's people today that still don't believe in me. And there's people that do know I'm going to make it, and they try to hold me back. There's people in the content creating community and the wrestling community that know my name that say, oh, man, you're great. But they're behind my back. I saw something at 2300 Arena where a guy looked me in my face. Oh my God, you're doing so great. And I was in the Army, and I was taught how to read lips. I'm looking at the guy, and he says, me and Kira are talking, and I can multitask. And the guy goes, I can't stand that effing Tantalizing Tony. He thinks he's so hot. Comes here and takes all the focus off of us in the room. This is a guy. This is a person who's established. I'm like, what? He fears Tantalizing Tony? Good. So, you know, good. And that's why if you ever see me cutting my promos, there's a little bit of truth behind it where I'm coming for everybody. I'm coming.
And you got to have that mind state a little bit. You know what I mean?
I have a lot to prove. And you have to realize I'm 56. How much time do I have left where I can actually enjoy it? I'm not 36. If I was 36, I'm like, yeah, these numbers matter right now. Like, I got to get there before I can't walk anymore before I'm on life support. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, no, I totally feel that. So when you look back at, you know, this journey of your pro wrestling and then starting your content and doing what you did after 10K, the bonds, the relationship with your family, like if you had to pick like a top 5, right? I do 5 questions with ABJ. We'll do a top 5 here. What are your 5 like key moments that you have experienced doing this content thing that like really stand out for you? Because it's become more than just sitting in front of a camera for you at this point. Like, you have gone to events, you do things, you have experiences, you've met people. I'm just curious to what really stands out to you.
So I can't pinpoint one thing with my kids because it's a lot, but I'm gonna go backwards 5 to 1. When Mark Henry put me over on Busted Open and said, Tony, I see Tony everywhere. He got his kids holding the camera. He's a family guy. That meant a lot to me, that a man of Mark Henry's stature in the wrestling community didn't give me accolades for being a good content creator, but gave me accolades for being a good dad because he loves his kids. That was huge for me. Huge. Which maybe the switch went off. I always believe I'm talented, but when someone, a WWE Hall of Famer, says something and gives you that rub, you're like, wow.
Well,
Number one.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I hope this doesn't come off as disrespectful, but they're the same way where I seen the change in Kira of like taking this channel seriously and as a badge of honor for herself, and not so much I'm doing it to bond with my dad and help my dad and help my, like, you know what I mean? Because she is very giving, but she's at a point now where she's like, no, this is just as much, like, she feels that way. You could tell, you know what I mean?
Oh, she
But
wants it.
but there was a time too where I met you where it was the Tantalizing Tony show. Like, your kids were there, but they were there because they were your kids, and
Right.
and I mean, you wanted them a part of it, but it wasn't at the point. It wasn't this aspect now where you're like, oh no, like, I'm inspiring my kids to do this, and and I seen that switch of you actually relinquishing some of the light and making your kids
Yeah.
have that as well too.
That's because, I wanted them to feel comfortable because my kids they're not hams like me. Michael has it. That kid, forget about it. But Kira and Bobby they're not like limelight people. They like to stay behind the scenes. And I wanted them to learn that don't be afraid to stand out. People are gonna disparage you no matter what. It's how you deal with it. You know what I mean?
That's why I like when Bobby dyed his hair blonde.
Huh?
It's when Bobby dyed his hair blonde,
Mhm.
and like everyone kind of got on him for it, but I was like, bro, that's a big step for him, because that's like a look at me moment.
I hated it, but but he didn't kill it. I don't care. And I
Yeah,
was like, okay.
but
He was
for
like,
him
okay.
to be as reserved as he is and not like put himself out there, like him dyeing his hair bleach blonde as a darker skinned kid is a
Crazy.
statement. And like for him to be like, I'm here now, like it was kind of like, that's how I read it, and I was like proud of him. I was like, bro, it looks good, you know what I mean? Like,
It did not look good, but I get
it
it.
did look good. I bring
To
it
you,
back. You look
please
good.
don't. No, I don't. I look. I'm
You see where I'm coming
conservative.
from though, where it
No,
was
no,
like,
no, no,
yeah,
no. You're not wrong. I'm conservative. Conservative with certain things because I know how other people look at us. So I want him to be able to get a job. Like, do I care if he paints his nails? No. Right.
I paint
But
my nails.
no. But my thing is, people look at you like, oh, I can't hire this kid. You know what I mean? He did pull a Shelton Benjamin,
He did.
but he impressed me because he stuck to his guns with that. But number 5 moment is Mark Henry. Number 4, believe it or not, it's crazy because Violetta and Dave LaGreca from Busted Open. Dave LaGreca is a busy guy, but takes the time to mention me and put me over. And his wife, she's a godsend. Like, I can't. We'd be here all day if I could tell you how great Violetta LaGreca is. How she says, "I have faith in you. You're gonna make it, Tony. You're doing great. You're a great dad." Like, impressive.
I used to have someone who used to, sorry, Dave, used to give me access to their Busted Open app, like the login. And I used to try to listen to as much as I possibly can, but then I lost that access. So I haven't listened to Busted Open in quite some time. And I think the podcast doesn't do it justice, where they like take a clip of it. Because there's definitely a flow and a structure to the show. And when you pull a small piece out, I feel like it doesn't translate.
I agree with that. It's
like a clip of the Howard Stern show. Like, the Howard Stern show is an entire experience, even though the show is 4 hours long from start to end. It was an entire experience, and that's how Busted Open is.
I love Busted Open in its purest content when it's the live 3 hours.
Mhm.
But I get why they do that. They're appealing to another audience, which is great.
Yep.
It's crazy. My boys, Paul Laurier, all my HWA guys, Paul Laurier, all those guys. Mike, I hate not to mention anybody, but they know who they are. Robert Franklin, all these guys. When they told me, they hit me up, tell me, yo, man, you're doing great. You got this. Having that behind me, because these guys are established. Mikey Whipwreck's established in the business. He put something on social media on when I did the pre-show last year with Byron Saxton. He goes, "I'm proud to say I know this guy." It meant a lot to me because the guy's a Triple Crown ECW champion.
Sure.
TV tag team world champion, and meant a lot. I'm a group everybody else in this. There's so many people in my circle. Lorraine, Jenny B, you, Graves, Triple R, Dina. There are so many people who just are in awe of me. Like, wow. Um, that means a lot to me and pushes me. You know what I mean? Those are they're not moments, but they're just, I can't say there's moments that have changed me. They're just the confidence you guys give me. Because believe it or not, I'm very insecure. I just hide it really well. I'm a people pleaser. You know, Jenny B will tell me, please everybody. I do. Because I want to be liked. I do.
Well, it comes from your childhood. You come from that always wanting the attaboy, always wanting to fit in, always wanted to feel loved, always wanted to feel accepted, and you still do it to this day. I relate heavily with that as well.
It's tough. It's tough. But the number one thing all around, just like, it's not a moment. And I'm sorry, I'm not answering the question the right way.
No, you're doing fine.
My children, I'm not going to cry on this show. I'm not. I know you want to do an Oprah moment. I'm not going to do it. Let me tell you about Jasmine. Jasmine, love you too, Lorraine. Jasmine, from where she comes from, to where she is now, what a woman she is. And she teaches Kira just by talking to her. He doesn't tell her do this, this, and this. You know, Kira's becoming the woman she is because of herself, of course. But I see how she sees Jasmine. And it's all looped in. Michael, Bobby, Kyla, who me and Kyla have a very volatile relationship, very volatile. But my kids, when they see me traveling, they see me on TV, and they say, my dad's in Vegas. Oh, my dad's here. My dad's here. For them to hear, like, to hear them talk about me when they think I'm not listening, is the biggest form of gratitude, respect, honor I could ever ask for, because they admire me. It's not they just love me, they like me. And they don't like me all the time because I'm a dad, I'm a a-hole sometimes. But I would not be able to do this without them. Even though Kyla's not part of the show, she always jumps into the chat. She always jumps on Instagram. She always makes little snide comments. That's her thing. She's very sarcastic. They have made me a better person, which has made me a better content creator. Like, I'm more in depth of, like, what should I do now to change this? Oh, this ain't working. Stop doing all these watch alongs. Let's do a pro show. Like, they've made me realize that it's not just one way to get there. There's a lot of ways to get there. And I wouldn't get there without these kids. And I'm going to say this about Michael, who's to the left of me, sleeping right there on the bed. Kira is 19. I was done having kids. Done. My plan was Kira gets to college and I'm out. I had a major plan to go and do my own thing and let the cards fall where they may. These kids got to take care of themselves. And then Michael came into the picture. And the circumstance with Michael, a lot of people don't know, and I'm not going to go into it. But, of course, Michael is unplanned. And Michael was not with me for the first year and a half of his life. Now, you don't know that. You don't know all this, see?
I do. You told me.
Yeah. But
they don't know.
I took it upon myself to make sure that no matter what, I was a better dad with Michael than I was with Anthony. Anthony had it rough with me. His mom got murdered in 1998, the love of my life. We were just like, we had been separated and got back together, and everything was perfect. Like, when I tell you my life was going where it should have gone, it was picture perfect. And one day I get a phone call that my wife was shot and murdered by an ex-boyfriend that she was dating when we were separated. We both separated legally. and he couldn't take it that we got back together and he killed her. And it made me so. It made me rough on Anthony because I was afraid of the world. So I sheltered him, kept him close to me, was very tight on him, very strict.
Do you think in certain aspects you might have turned into what your mom did to you for a while?
Not that way, but I would say not physically, but definitely verbally. I didn't talk well to Anthony as he was.
No, and I never meant like in a physical aspect, but like
physically, I used to get my butt.
Maybe overbearing, maybe like, I don't want to say like purposely doing, but like when a parent sometimes, I don't want to say the wrong thing either on my end, but like when you have that generational curse, or you have that generational thing where probably she was treated by her parents this way, and then she had kids, and then she's not wanting to be that, but it's just what's embedded in your brain that you do. You like when we met, you told me a lot about backstage about like what we're talking about on this podcast, and one of the things, and I've never publicly actually almost said that, I never said this to you ever, and I'm going to say it now on a podcast platform, but it makes a lot of sense, bro. I've watched you shed that generational curse at times. Like it's still not, I mean, we all know we're not perfect, we're not there, but they're like, just in this 2 years that I've known you, or a year and a half that I've known you, or whatever it may be, like you went to the point where it was like, yo, it's like kind of my way or no way, like this is the way it's going to be. And then, not saying your kids are challenging you or bucking against you or rebelling to you, but you're almost getting to a point where you're allowing them to have a say. And I think even you breaking that because you weren't allowed to have that to your mother is you're developing a better relationship with your kids because you're allowing to break down those generational curse walls. And I think it makes your kids stronger, it makes your kids better, but it also makes you as a unit better.
No, and that's a great analogy, because I will say this, I think my mother was mistreated too. I think my mother had it rough. You know, her mom, I remember my grandmother. My great-grandmother, awesome. I knew my great-great-grandmother as well. My great-great-grandmother. But my grandmother, not the nicest person. So my mother probably had it rough too, and that's all she knew. And that's all I knew. I never was taught how to parent. So it's like there's no instructions. So my oldest son got the brunt of my inexperience and my immaturity and my lack of knowing what to do.
But the fact that you could openly say that and say to him, hey, I wasn't amazing, and I screw up, and I screwed up a lot with you, and I'm so proud of you that the person you became, bro, that's breaking a generational curse, because a lot of parents have too much ego to say, I fucked my kid up. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want to be like, I didn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, but for you to say that, that's a bold thing to do. And that's super helping to probably Anthony. And I'm not speaking for him, but like sometimes just someone openly saying, yo, I did you dirty and I'm sorry, but even though I did that to you, I'm giving you your roses. That's that on a mental scar healing, like those internal scars that you get from those moments. That's got to be so relieving.
I think that, you know, you saw it because he was on my show, and I told my kids, and Anthony got the worst of it because I was, like I said, inexperienced, immature.
But that he loves you, man. Like you're his hero. Like he did not mean that wasn't like bullshit. That was real. That came from a real place.
It's crazy that he said to me, because I didn't realize he said I'm his hero, and it was meant a lot to me. But he definitely, when Anthony tells you guys, I was everything that these kids are doing, Anthony was with me at the Manhattan Center. He's been with me through a lot of things, but he taught me, and looking back on it in retrospect, what not to do with Mike. I think, you know, and even Anthony tells me, Dad, I love how you're with Michael. He doesn't say, oh, I wish you were that way, because love was never an issue in our house. Love that kid. I just was tough on him because I knew how the world was, and thank God it was tough on him, because listen, that guy right now is making $2,000 a week in Vegas, killing the game, has a son, has a beautiful home. Huh. He's doing better than me. So I did something right, you know? Um, my kids overall are the reason why I do this. I want to hand this over to Mike. Like I want him to have the Magnificent Mikey show. I want him to get into business. He loves wrestling. He loves it. You know, I this business could be the greatest thing or the worst thing, but it's what you make of it. And I've learned that in some things you have a thick skin, and some things you gotta have a thin skin. You have to navigate. You have to find a way to navigate yourself way around. It's still hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's not easy. But overall, the number one reason why I do this, why I am who I am, why I feel I'm being successful with this channel is my children. They've made it. Kira, I cannot say, there it is. I don't deserve that kid. I do not deserve Kira. I don't know why she loves me so much. Do not deserve her. No.
She's a fucking saint. Like, not like on a no, like, oh, she like, you know, as a human being, I've never met a human like Kira. She's so different. Like she's not from she's not from this planet. Like,
I don't. You know what? I will tell you this: that me and Kira were very close from the time she was born. I mean, I had her mom. We used to work. I stayed home. I was stay-home dad for a while. And thank you, Lorraine. I appreciate you. Kira, I had Kira from a baby till 4 when I went back to work. 4 years old, and we used to have picnics every day in the front yard. I would take time and cut sandwiches and like the stuff that moms do. I was on disability, so I was home. And I didn't just watch TV all day. When I did play video games, she'd be on my lap with a controller playing next to me. And I showed Kira so much love, and I spoke to her like a person. And I always told her, be strong, don't quit, don't let anybody tell you can't do anything. And she's different than me. She's very humble. She's very quiet until you tick her off. And I won't go into detail on what happened this past weekend at WrestleMania, but someone came at me and Kira was not having it. I never saw Kira stand up to anybody before. And she basically was like, that's my father. No one talks to my father like that. No one. And I was like, usually I'll step in. I was like, holy, you know, it was impressive. Bobby too. Bobby's the most good-hearted kid you ever want to meet.
Agreed. Totally agree.
But he saw how I was treated. He was like, yo, who the hell you think you're talking to? It's my father. You know, Jasmine the same. My kids are the best, man. Like all of them. Even me and my daughter Asia, right now we're on the outs. She's in the other room. Or she's at work maybe. We're not speaking. We haven't spoken months. Don't mean I don't love her. Just don't like her life choices. Don't like what she does. She's in and out. She's got her own stuff going on, got her own place, whatever. But she was here. And it's tough when you're a dad and you got to stand your ground. You know, I can't be walked over either. You know, I'm at the point now. These kids know, like I'm a beaten man at this point. Like I'm tired of arguing. Like this is my focus. This channel, my studio, is my focus, and it's what I want to do with my life. But thank you, Lily. Let's say I have a beautiful family. Thank you. Yeah, my kids. I'm this 100,000. This plaque is not for me. It's for them. Because my dreams to have a show like Logan Paul, will it happen? Who knows? Will I ever get on press row? Who knows? But that plaque is attainable. That's something I control. WWE doesn't control that. AEW doesn't control that. I control that by getting my numbers up, talking to people. Look, I got 1,100 subscribers in 28 days. I got 700 subscribers in 3 days. It's attainable. That plaque will sit on whatever shelf I have behind me. It will be here. And then once I get that, we go for a million. I'm not counting 20,000, 30,000. I'm not counting 90,000. When it gets to 9,900, when it gets to the 9,999, then, Do
you know what I think would set your channel to a different level?
What's that?
So everything I watched of your Mania content that you have put out, when Mikey's handing cards out, and then Kira's handing cards out, and Bobby's handing cards out, everyone's like, it's subscribe to the Tantalizing Tony show. Come to the Tantalizing Tony show. And I love the fact that you are the spokesperson and you're the guy. But I really, really think your strength is in numbers. And I honestly, I think like the Tantalizing team is the way to go.
They won't do it. I've been there already. I had to get her kicking and screaming to do the logo for Tantalizing Tone, the Tantalizing tag team. They
but here's
will
the thing,
not.
Personality wise, I think a lot of your kids don't want the spotlight because you've had it for so long. And now that you're willing to give it to them and them coming out of that shell as well, and also accepting, like you're all growing and learning this whole thing called life together. And honestly, I mean, I think it's a different game when Mikey walks up and goes, yo, subscribe to our, it's like the verbiage, right? It's that sense of pride. It's that sense of it's ours too. Even with Jasmine, Jasmine's not physically in that house, but she takes pride in this show. Like she's in the chat, she gets on camera, she nails it, she's on point. Like she knows how to like conduct herself on camera and present herself. Like it's a tantalizing team. You know what I'm saying? Like it's insane that it's become that. You know what I mean? And I think once like that, it's almost like the Avengers, like it's that part of the movie where they're all really good by themselves. And when they realize like, bro, this is more than just us being amazing. Together, we're unstoppable. Like, I think the channel takes that next leap. And I'm not telling you to rebrand. I'm just saying like that aspect of the show, I think it's going to make it, set it apart. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
Because even as myself, like when I was part of your show, I think we have great chemistry. I think what we do is great. I think a lot of people have come in and done great things. But I think the greatest chemistry your show's ever had is now. The fact that like you don't bring as many guests in, and it's Kira's holding the show down just as much as you. Bobby steps in, he's on point. Jasmine comes in, it's on point. Mikey comes in, and you don't even have to teach that kid what to say. Like you used to whisper in his ear, and he's like, please get out of here. I got you. Like it's a unit now, and it's unstoppable.
Tony Schiavone, we're gonna put this up, and then that's the new logo. As you guys can see, that's Kira's title. So we changed a little bit. That's the Tantalizing Tag Team. That's the podcast. I have to get Kira kicking and screaming to do, but that's a new logo.
I love
it. Tony Schiavone gave Michael some advice because we saw him at WrestleCon, and he saw Michael with the microphone, and he comes over, and Michael has no idea what Tony Schiavone is. He goes, make sure when you're talking to people, you look right in their eye, you look at the camera, you look back in the eye, you make sure the camera's in their face, blah, blah. If you watch Michael's interviews with Mark Henry and Chris Van Vliet, you can see him doing what Tony Schiavone said. The kid's 6.
Because it's not like a dance mom thing where it's a mom, like it's not a mom who are a dad putting his kid through football to vicariously live through your kid because you never lived your dreams. Like your kids are kind of like they were living vicariously through you, but now it's like I said, like everyone wants this. Like you've shown an aspect to them in a you know what I mean, that like, yo, we're not just going to wrestling shows no more. Like we're going to events, like we're doing this, like, yo, if we get just as good as dad, we can do this too. Like it's cool. It's cool to see.
People are asking us to come to something. Like I don't like there's certain conventions. I don't pay for tables anymore. They ask me to come because they want my energy. I was asked like to come to a convention. Hey, we just want you to come here and be you.
Yeah.
We don't want you to just be you. I'm like, okay. Who are some of the unsung heroes in the Tantalizing Nation outside of the family? For me, who are my heroes?
No, like unsung heroes, like people maybe behind the scenes. I think he's trying to ask, like,
nobody. Okay, just I'm joking.
I can give. I don't know how active they are now, but remember Syndro? Who used to be really helpful.
She's awesome. Syndro. No, Chrissy, the first lady.
Yeah,
first lady. I can give you 3 women who have supported this channel in different ways.
You kind of said those earlier. Yeah.
Lorraine. Let me tell you about Lorraine real quick. Lorraine is the sweetest woman. She's been sick lately. She's getting better. She's better now. But Lorraine always,
shows, even though I tried to hide from. Yo, Lorraine, when you sent that money the first time at 20 Arena, I ducked and dodged. Every time he went to the food thing, I ran away. I'm so weird at accepting. I'm getting better though. I'm working on it. I'm realizing my flaws, and I'm attacking them head on to make myself a better human.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you one that I'm really working on, and I learned through you. I learned a flaw of my own being friends with you, and I'll touch on that towards the end.
Okay. Lorraine, not just sending money, but she's very supportive and very like she boosts your ego. Like she strokes my ego. Like she's like, that's number one. Jen, not Jenny B, Jen. Jen was in the shower time. Jen has been very supportive, super chat wise, just in aspects of you can do this. And Jenny B does not like notoriety at all.
I know, I love it.
But she doesn't boost my ego. She tells me when you're doing, hey, calm down.
She keeps you in check.
You're doing too much.
Yeah.
You don't point in your kid's face. That's disrespectful. Like she told me, I was talking to Nevaeh in the video. She goes, you don't point in your kid's face. It's disrespectful. I was like, wait. She's right. So Jenny B, she's a good friend. Not to mention, people don't know Boom Baby Jessica. Me and her go way back.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk like we used to just because of life, but Boom Baby is somebody who when I need her, she's there. You know what I mean? So it's always I do. Not to mention my other friends, Nelson, Pat, my friend G, my friend Big Lou. There's a lot of guys. There's so many people in the back. There's a lot of people.
Who got you into the Mania Club aspect?
That's BJ Wright and Big Hirsch.
Yeah, Big Hirsch is an unsung hero. Even though he doesn't like me, but he's an unsung hero for your channel. He's good.
It's not that he doesn't like you. I'll tell you what it is. He's very protective of me.
Mm-hmm.
He knew me. You were at odds, but he said something to me the other day. He goes, "I get it. I understand now why you." When people are
I think he's talented. I think he's a talented dude. I mean, he's not a better promo than me, but he's talented.
Oh wow. Ooh, we don't want to go there. But no, he's loyal to me. He respects me, he calls me OG. And Big Hirsch inspires me. Being my age, it's crazy because people don't realize I'm 56, but I'm a young 56 in aspects of the way I look and that
you're
the way I carry. That's true, I'm dirt. But I carry myself young for a reason because I don't want to die. So I can't name everybody, and that's why I hate naming people because then you miss them. Like, but a lot of people support me. Robert Franklin, I can't say much. Robert Franklin lost his mom, right? Last year.
I'm so sorry that because I meet so many people and mixing universes. Who's the guy that came to the pizza shop? One of your listeners, friends.
Lavelle.
Very nice guy.
Lavelle loves me to death. He calls me Mr. Tony. Don't know why, but Mr. Tony, I love your channel. Lavelle's a good
I was
guy.
so happy he won the belt that night.
Well, we fixed it that way, of course. We fixed it that way. It was fixed. Listen, don't put me in American Idol because I'll fix it. I'll fix it for the people I like.
Oh yeah, it's pro wrestling, baby. It was a work.
It was a work, but so many people.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Also who I can really give some credit to. Jenny B's brother Sam Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
He's my Bible study teacher. People I know that it's like what? He's my Bible study teacher, and he teaches me a lot about just how to carry myself and you got to be humble because you have to be humble sometimes too. So he's an unsung. There's a lot, I'm gonna name somebody else and people gonna be shocked. So my kid's mom, Trevina, we have a volatile, crazy, unhealthy relationship, but she's such a good mom to the kids and a good grandmother. And she might not speak a lot. You know what I mean? She doesn't talk a lot. She's not a talker. But I know she watches me from the distance, from afar, and she tries to, she knows that this is what I want out of my life. She doesn't convey it well to me, but I know she has my back, even though we're not. It's weird. But there's a lot of people that have my back. And not to mention, people in the chat who show up every day, EW1, Humble, Thomas Akers, who had cancer, who's fighting cancer, coming, Ruda, guys, you have no idea the kind of guy Ruda is. I can't name everybody. So if I ever do make it big, a lot of people are going to call it in favors. Like, hey, give me those tickets. Let me get them WrestleMania tickets. People that spend their time watching my show and send me super chat money, like Pastor and EW1, and that's their money. Chrissy, Luna, I can't mention everybody. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll be here forever.
Absolutely.
But there's so many people. It takes a village. There's so many people that make my channel what it is. Because if nobody watches, I'm not going to do it. You know.
So I'm part of a team, a network, the Ben Frank Connection.
Wait. I'm sorry. I didn't mention somebody. I mentioned Ricky, of course, right? Ricky. Let me say something about Ricky real quick. Because Ricky. And listen, let's not pull punches. You and Ricky do not see eye to eye on
I personally don't have an issue with the guy.
No.
You know what I mean?
But we know there's animosity between whatever. But the thing is this: I love Ricky to death. Ricky is, believe it or not, the most loyal dude ever.
Sure is.
He's loyal to me very much. Yeah, to me. No, he is. He got my back. I got to give him credit for that. He's a good dude. Everybody has flaws, you know.
Yeah.
And he's young. He's definitely unsung here, and not to mention Graves. I didn't mention Graves, who always has had my back.
Great.
Bobby Rassels. I didn't mention him, who got me through the summer. I had a tough summer. Bobby Rassels, his wife Jasmine, of course, Ruda. And I didn't mention you because you challenged me. You pissed me off too, which is a good thing. Because when you're pissed off, it makes you think, maybe this guy's a point. When you talked about the whole Jay Briscoe thing, and guys, you don't know what happened. Jay Briscoe passed away, of course, and I did a show, a 4-hour stream. And to some people, I might have labored it on and on. And Anthony made a point like, bro, you know, you're doing too much, you know, like, bro, you know. And he had a point. And he doesn't have fear. Anthony is not the most physically scary person. He's not I don't believe you fight that much.
Not anymore.
I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying you don't.
I choose not to.
But Anthony had no fear saying, yo, bro, I think you're wrong on this one. And when somebody can call you out to your face and tell you you're wrong, that's love. That's real love right there. So
yeah, because I think in this industry, I think in any entertainment industry, I think sometimes people lose the sight of like that they're humans, and there's a lot that goes to this, and sometimes the internet wrestling community tries to play journalists when sometimes we're not. You know, we're journalists to an extent, but you also like we try to tote the line of real journalism, but we're also talking about pre-scripted storylines. It's like being a journalist for Days of Our Lives. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not. You're trying to be a journal on a fake character, but there's a real person behind it. And then that's when real journalism kicks in, because when you start messing with real people's lives is when things get muddy. And I understand why you did it, but also in the same token of like two people who have learned the business side of things is like, I felt like, I don't know, it was something like I just wasn't fully comfortable with. I thought better of you, but also I know that you're trying to chase a dream and get numbers. It's a hard line to tote, you know.
Listen, as I was watching the numbers go up, I couldn't believe I couldn't believe it.
Sure.
At this point, you don't know where the number's gonna go. It could have went to 40, 50,000. Do I stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm a numbers guy. I'm like, I'm going.
I ain't stopping now. I'm looking at all these people popping in.
Yeah, so that was my mindset. But what you do, like I watch your stuff a lot, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not an independent wrestling guy. I like independent wrestling. I just don't want to interview all the independent wrestlers just because I was an independent wrestler. So I know what they know. The guys that you see working, I run circles around anybody you've talked to. I'm just being honest.
But do you think I interviewed them because they're wrestlers?
No, you think you interview them because they're good people. They're good. They're
There's
people.
aspects of them as people I'm trying to pull out.
No, I know that. But my thing is that I'm an OG on the independent scene. You know, people think because you can't prove something means it's not true. The internet wasn't around in 1993 to show everything I did. I have worked for ECW. I worked for Paul Heyman. I've been places that some of these guys have not been. I don't choose to relive what I did already. I wrestled in front of 20,000 people in Ohio State Fairgrounds. There's not a lot of people in independent wrestling say wrestling in front of 20,000 people. There's not. It's not. So I don't want to learn anything about independent wrestling that I don't already know. Not against the people. Because look, I'll give you a perfect example. Lance Anoa'i, he's an independent wrestler. He's not signed anybody yet, yet. But that's a guy I follow because I admire him. Alpha Jr., love that guy. Leo Sparrow, incredible dude. As much as I hate to say this, got to put over Joey Conway. He's a piece of trailer park trash, but the guy knows what he's doing. I'll smack him in his mouth, but he knows what he's doing. I'll beat the crap out of Joey Conway. There are people who are in this business that aren't in the big show that are incredible, that are never going to make it there either. There's some people never going to make it, but they've got that presence. So back to your content is like, I watch it, but I don't watch it for independent wrestling. I watch it to see what you're going to get out of people. And that's low key my goal. I know. You know what I mean? Like I was anxious to do this to see what you're going to get out of me. That was when you said, let's go. Playing video games right now.
Can I give you I remember earlier, like I don't know if I'm answering the question. So like my interview style with you coming in, my first 3 questions, I painted a really broad stroke and gave you a huge time gap to just be free because I knew you can talk in that gap. And then as the interview went, I got more detailed with my paintbrush, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. But I knew this is the thing. One thing about me, I'm very astute on this. I knew what you were doing because I know that's how your setup is, which is fine. It's great. My thing is, and I don't understand this, I'm going to put you on the spot. Why haven't you been picked up by anybody yet? Why hasn't MLW or TNA like? I'm gonna flip this on you. What do you think you're not doing to get noticed? Because let me say this. Wait. Let me say this because I'll be honest with you. I know this business pretty well. And I know people out there watching, if any wrestlers that are in WWE, oh, he doesn't know. I do know. If I had to rank you commentator-wise and knowledge-wise in aspects of wrestling, I don't think there's anybody out there that is good as you. I think there's things that
when you said when we were angry, this guy thinks he's better than Kevin Kelly. You told me yourself I was. Just you fucker.
But
I don't think I'm better. I want the challenge to sit next to him at a table and show that even though I bring something so different, I can be just as good.
I did say you were better than Kevin Kelly, but I was of course in gimmick too, talking crap about you as well.
Yeah,
I was trying to get you rub you the wrong way. Yeah. But listen, I'll say it. If Kevin Kelly even sees, I'll tell him to his face. I ain't scared of Kevin Kelly.
I mean, I've said some stuff to Kevin Kelly already.
Listen, I don't care. I think if someone gave you a shot, I think they would be, oh crap, but we gonna lose our jobs. I think people should be afraid of you. I really think that there are people, you should email Matt Stryker. You should email Matt Stryker. And just see if he ever gets back to you. You send him a clip of your stuff. Because I think if anybody saw you, they'd be like, wait a minute, you fit great in MLW. You'd be perfect.
GCW. Perfect. I would kill it at GCW.
Yeah, but I think GCW is beneath you.
I know, but I feel I can bring that element to GCW that like they want to be ECW so bad. But I think the biggest thing they miss is the commentary. The thing that made ECW stand out was Joey Styles.
Yeah, he's incredible.
And their commentary, they try to do commentary like WWE, but on a GCW level, and they're a different product.
Yeah, it's crazy because I worked with Joey Styles at ECW. I was ring crew for ECW for a full year. I learned so much from watching Paul Heyman do promos in back. He would put alcohol in his face to make his face red on camera. He has so many little tricks he does where, bro, this guy's a genius.
So here's, this is me trying to put myself over a little bit, but like how you said earlier, what I feel like in my brain, I'm more calculated than people give me credit for. I've heard people say that I just wing it. I don't, you know what I mean? I don't like I'm more like, sometimes people say I'm too laid back, or some people say I'm too structured, but like I feel if like people like analyzed me the way I analyze, how you said there's Paul Heyman has those tricks. I pick up on those tricks. Like, you've seen me at wrestling shows, and I can watch someone perform an art, and even though I've never been in that art, or I've never stepped between those ropes, or I've never done something like that, I can see that there's more to something. I see colors differently. I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to make myself look like a superhero, but I just see things differently. And then I think sometimes people don't see when I'm trying to project on my art. And I think a huge thing that holds me back is I that long form content. I like so for someone who tries to rush everything, I like that long form where I can kind of like weave my way through an interview or a conversation. And it's a challenge to me. Like, there are certain aspects to an interview where I'm like, I wonder if I can get this, or I can get to here, or if I can, paint an overall picture and kind of come back to the end of the interview full circle. And to me, that jazzes me up, but maybe no one else catches on to that. But I think my short content, the 5 things with ABJ, like, I think I'm really showing not from a backstage interview, but like I can also nail that down in 5 to 6 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be just as impactful in 2 hours as I can in 10 minutes. And I'm learning how to bottle the same energy.
No, and you're good at that. And that's one thing. Like, I don't understand this business why people like us aren't working somewhere. Like,
but I also go to places and like I watch documentaries of like, well, how did no one say anything during this time? Like, everyone's seen it, but no one said it. I'm the dude who's gonna say it, and I think that holds me back too.
Yeah, it's tough.
And we're this is a business where you can't say those things. For how much we say speaking out, and we're trying to make wrestling a better place, it's still very much embedded in that. How we go back to like your generational roots. There has been a way of a business that it's going to take a lot more than was just even recently happening to fix those scars of the scumminess that this business can bring. Yeah, no, completely. So like I said, I'm part of the Ben Frank connection. I'm very proud of that connection. I'm very happy that, I'm finding a set of content people, to work together and become this unit. But I'm all like, as much as I'm a Ben Frank guy, I'm also, I know it's not official yet, but we're working on it, because there's going to be more things coming. But I'm also part of another team, there's not one that takes credit more than the other. I'm a team player. But I'm also a member of the TWF, and that means something to me, right? I also was recently, I don't want to say it on camera, but there's another guy who I respect dearly, who's a wrestler who was trained by a Hall of Famer. And if you're watching and you're hearing this, it's you. But like, he has a stable, and it's a stable of badass dudes and women, men and women, who will kill you in and out of a wrestling ring. And I have been put in that family, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a commentator, as a dude, as a person, like, I was put in a wrestling family, like the Usos, like an honorary Us title. Like, I'm an honorary Us to this family type deal. You know what I'm saying? Because I've earned that respect. But the TWF, everything I said earlier, the TWF is your family. Like, I don't care. You can say it's a Tantalizing Tony show all day, but I see it as a tantalizing team. Like, your family, everyone involved with that. And you have the world championship of that, and Kira has the women's, and everyone in your family is a champion, whether they have a title or not.
You're coming.
But exactly, you are presenting me, and Ruda's a part of that team as well. Ruda's like the Paul Heyman of the TWF. You know what I mean? Like, pulling strings, this guy. But I don't take that lightly, and that's a badge of honor I take to heart. Like, the TWF, like, I probably wouldn't be a live streamer or going that content, because that's not the style of content I went. But I told you earlier that, well, there's one thing that I've learned with your friendship and about me in the last 10 months of going through everything I went through is kind of taking a step back and understanding your own insecurities, right? So I kind of said it with you, where maybe you have shades of your mom, or maybe shades of your trauma that affect who you are as a person. And I definitely have that as well. And it has cost me, probably my marriage, and it has cost me friendships, and it has cost me that. And sometimes I stick to my guns, and I feel like I did the right thing and I said the right thing, even though it hurt the other person. But at the end of the day, like, I was being hurt by not saying anything for a long time. But one of the things that I've truly learned from you is that aspect of go get it, be louder, shoot your shot. Like, I'm the type of person, I'll walk into a room and I'll say, bro, I'm gonna just really work hard and I'm gonna keep my nose down. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna put myself out there, and I'm gonna earn the respect from everyone around me. And I know I can get that done, but I know the path it's gonna take to do that is gonna take a lot longer, you know? And the more I've been putting myself out there and the more I've been shooting my shot and reaching out to people and saying, hey, give me a shot, I've noticed more doors have opened up. And one of the things that used to, like, not so much when we said we have this friendly rivalry, the one thing that used to piss me off about you was that aspect. How your kid here, your son said it perfectly. Like, when your kid was talking, man, like, that resonated heavily with me because I related a lot to your kid's feelings about you through Tony, of like it would piss, like, you would walk in, I'm like, this fucking guy, like the Dudley, like Hall of Fame tag team told him to shut the F up. And I agreed with them. You know what I mean? I didn't have your back there. That pisses me off. But like, because all my insecurities.
You mean the Steiners?
Steiners, yes. Because
so
my insecurities of because we are so similar in the aspect of what we want in life and how we feel we deserve it, and all of the trauma, like, there's certain similarities of trauma of what we went through. And you have broken that fear of saying, look at me. And I wish I could. And I used to resent you for that. And when I learned to rewire my mind from going to resentment to be proud and learn and pull from that, it has made me a better person and a better content creator. And us bearing that hatchet and saying, like, as men, yo, I love you. I fucked up. You fucked up. You didn't, like, I came at you with something that bothered me. And instead of you saying, like, getting that ego as a man, like, that we all do, of saying, I don't care that how you felt, you hurt me. You know what I mean? Like, you were willing to put your wall down as much as I was willing to put my wall down. And it was one of the healthiest rekindlings in my 37 years I've ever been a part of. You know what I mean? Like, it meant that much to me because I'm not someone who's willing to break that wall down. And I'm not willing to be that person to say I'm sorry sometimes. You know what I mean? In a lot of aspects, with my own father, with my brother in aspects. And I learned to do that through you and through our mending of the fences. And honestly, like, that was such a generational curse healing moment for me that you have given to your son, your kids. Like, so, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when this TWF thing kicks off, man, it means a lot to me. And I'm being dead serious. Like we team up, but we still, like, once again, even though I'm not on your stream or you're not on my stream, or we're not doing things together on every aspect, you're crazy if you don't think I don't watch his content as much as he watches mine, and we learn from each other and get better. You know what I mean? And I just really, and I want to thank you for this amazing friendship, bringing me into your family, bringing me around your amazing kids. I have yet to meet, Jasmine and Tony, but I really look forward to it, because I once again, through you and your kids, I see a lot of similarities of myself in them. And especially in our times of being great and our times of weakness, or, like, but I appreciate all of you. Like, regardless of how much I used to get pissed off at you, man, like, I'd never had a negative thing to say about any of your children. Like, I respect your them so much. And I realized that it took you to do that just as much. You know what I mean? And for a while there, like, I didn't give you your roses, and I want to do that now and say I love you. And I know you say it a lot yourself, but I'm saying it for us, content creators. We're fucking coming. Like, we're coming, baby. Like, it's the TWF with, like, I'm gonna be honest. I think that how you said with, where it's a team effort, is a family effort, but, like, when it comes to, like, the three people leading the charge is myself, you, and Ruda. And I think that's a really big backbone aspect to the TWF. And Kira's in that too, but she just doesn't want to step up yet with her spotlight. But when she does, bro, you're all screwed. You're all done. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even an aspect of, like, I want to make it to AEW, or I want to make it to, like, I love doing commentary. I do, but it's not, my goal is to be more of a Chris Van Fleet than it is to be a Jim Ross.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more of a Logan Paul kind of guy. I want that little studio where I want to have my
Oh,
studio. Where,
same. Yeah.
that's what I want.
Agreed. Yeah, I want a
But
compound. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I want to be Rob Dyrdek meets Kevin Smith. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
yep.
yeah,
If
totally,
if, pe-
totally.
if people don't know, TWF stands for the Tantalizing Wrestling Federation. But if you really think about it, it stands for the Tantalizing Wrestling Family. So, we may have to change those those wordings to family.
Yeah.
Because it's true, it is a family. I appreciate that you even listen, guys. This started as the whole TWF thing was a joke, of course, but I thought about it. I'm an old school WWF guy, why not have my own federation? It was only just me. Now we got the Kira Championship, the IC champions coming, the magnificent Michael belts coming, the big bucks, the Triple B, the real Triple B, big bucks Bobby belts coming.
I love that.
It's crazy that it's really like turning into something where people are like, what the hell's going on here? And like we said, are we going to collaborate every day? Probably not. But
when we're not, we still are, though. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah. And to the chagrin of a lot of people, I'm like, what the hell, Tone? Come on. Listen, get your own channel if you don't like it. I mean, this is not easy.
I think it comes down to that, people realize that, how you said, you think there's people out there who see what I have and they're intimidated by it, just like I think people see the same way in you. And when you take two people who have that aspect and put them together, that's some people who may not work as hard may get left behind. It is what it is.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, people don't realize that, you guys think we're just sitting here talking. He's looking at his clock. I'm looking at mine. Like, we have lives.
Mm-hmm.
Today is Nevaeh's first birthday.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's one today. And they had a little party in there. I wasn't privy. I just came here. I said hello and left. I don't do the birthday thing that much. But people don't realize this is a lot of work. Like, people just want to you just like, oh, I want that too. This is my dream. This is my dream. Like, and my dream has changed, of course, because I can't wrestle every day. It's bad enough I'm trying to get into shape to wrestle one match. Like, it's a lot of work. I can't do this every day, but I could talk until my voice is gone. This is a lot of work and dedication and sacrifice. And you lose time with people. Like, I made so many promises to people. I'm going to be there. Oh, I can't make it. Got a show. Okay, I'll see them. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. Like, I'll be on the way somewhere and get so tired. Like, I'm going home. Like, I can't be 50 places at once because this channel, is a lot, and there's other things. Believe it or not, there's other things more important than this channel. My kids, of course, and I know a lot of people. I know, but a lot of people don't realize I'm trying to have a better relationship with God, and I know that might rub people the wrong way, but it's just my belief, and I got to do better with that too. So it's like, in the scheme of things, man, if you want to be part of something, put the work in and do it. Mm-hmm. Don't just try to ride the coattails. And I'm just saying, like, if you want to be part of something, no matter what it is, if you're a garbage man, do it to the best of your ability. Don't just throw one garbage can out. Throw all three. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
all three. Don't be.
If you legit love something and you put your effort into it, it's not gonna come natural. It's not gonna come easy. And maybe it does. And maybe you're that anomaly. But like, realistically, you're gonna go through peaks and you're gonna go through valleys. And you're gonna think you're at the highest of high, and then you're gonna hit the lowest of low. But then you got to fight your way back up. But it all comes down to if you want this or not. And that goes with anything. It doesn't have to be content. It could be anything you literally set your mind to. But Tantalizing Tony, where can people find you? Where can people support you?
I'm in my house right now. No, so look, it's very simple, guys. Tantalizing Tony is everywhere. Tantalizing Tony on Twitter, X, Tantalizing Tony on YouTube, Tantalizing Tony on Instagram, Tantalizing Tony on Facebook. By the way, I'm Tantalizing Tony on Cameo, and I got a cameo I have to do today. Somebody sent me a cameo. I made $50. Yeah, cameo. Yeah, it's like my 6th cameo, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I've done a few.
That's
yeah.
I still have like a mini stroke when someone sends me a super chat. Like, I don't know how to handle that yet.
This is the cameo I got today. My friend Justin is celebrating his birthday on 4/20. He's a huge wrestling fan and a huge Tantalizing Tony fan. We got a chance to meet you at WrestleCon. It would be an honor to give him a birthday shout out from the legend. So after I hang up with you, I'm gonna actually cut this promo for him. Like, I got paid to do a promo.
So fun fact, I made one.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I'm not gonna do what you think I'm gonna do on there, obviously. But I recently have made friends, and this is a whole nother thing. I won't go too deep into it, but you have an interesting relationship when it comes to this industry. But like, the adult industry, we'll say, dancing.
I ran a strip club.
Yes. At the end of the day, I know it's a broad umbrella, but the term sex work has a negative connotation, but there really shouldn't be one there. And that's an industry I would like to tackle into more, because I think it's so similar to pro wrestling. And I was at a party recently where the two worlds collided, and I met a lot of people in that industry and a lot of people in the wrestling industry, and they all kind of blended together, and we had really good conversations. And I think that my OF aspect will be a set of interviews that maybe won't be appropriate for YouTube, but I think they're as equally as important, if that makes sense.
Yes, and if I have somebody that I'll hook you up with, WTTV, my friend of mine, we'll talk later.
I honestly, I get really fascinated with different industries. Like I even said before, I was like, I don't know if the wrestling industry is going to be something I'm going to do forever. My passion for wrestling is going to be there. But when it comes to my interviews, like I like to listen to actors. I like to people who like to want to be in that, like different industries, the music scene, independent music, like just being that grind. It just fascinates me, and breaking people down and hearing who they were as people and how they got into the industry they got into means something. Like I like capsulating those stories, but that's a whole nother topic for another day. But I appreciate you, man. Everyone, make sure you go check out the Tantalizing Tony show on YouTube. Just hit 10K. Let's get them up even higher. Appreciate everyone from the Tantalizing universe who came over tonight. Even when Tony's live and you guys pop in and say hi, I need you to know that that means a lot to me, because I know how hard it is to work for your audience, and then for someone to give you that time as well. I know how much respect goes into that, and that means a lot to me. Before we get out of here, if you want to check out some merchandise, all of the normal stuff is up there, but I took all the specialty logos off, and we rotate them every month. So every 13th of the month, we rotate the new logos. The new ones out right now is the Fresh Prince logo, the WCW logo, and then we have the Special Dynasty as well as the 420 logo, which are all available right now and only till the 13th. So if you don't get these logos till the 13th, it may be a long time before they circle back around. So go grab that merchandise, or you can get that specialty logos and merchandise through ABJ or through the Opinion City website here, so you can find some of your favorite people that are part of that team. Grab merchandise that will support that network through this channel. I see you holding up something here. Look at that. Tantalizing Tony merchandise.
Still have some shirts available. Inbox me for details. Also, still Tantalizing 316 shirts. And we're going to be doing a belt giveaway in May.
Can we rig this one too? Your boy needs one.
Listen, bro, I got some connections. You know what I mean? Got some connections.
Bro, once I start getting paid again, I'm going to put Rude to work.
Yeah, Rude's going to work. And guys, just so you know, let me say this real quick. I know you're into the show, but so you guys know I call myself the YouTube champion, and it's of course self-proclaimed. But as Anthony was saying, the Tantalizing Wrestling Federation is really my company, and we're going to be geared towards that a little more. The YouTube thing, the YouTube champion thing will phase out in a way, just because marketing wise, if somebody wants to pick me up, I can't say I'm the YouTube champion. I don't own that. So you'll be hearing me say I'm the self-proclaimed YouTube champion, but there will be a new belt design coming soon. It's already in the works, and this belt, if you guys like the YouTube title, this new one is gonna make the YouTube title like a piece of crap. It's that good. Wait till you guys see it. It's gonna be beautiful. So I'll still be carrying the title on my shoulder, just not this one. Whether I hold on to it or not, because I will be wrestling AJ Francis at some point. That's true. It is happening. And I don't plan on losing to that guy. I ain't scared of him. But if you need any belts, Ruda Entertainment.
A lot of those titles you see behind him, you can get on WWE Shop, but you're gonna get you're gonna get a way better product and quality from Joe Ruda. I know there's, one of my titles that I'm gonna be getting Ruda when I get some money on my end is I want that Scissor Me Daddy Trios Championship. I think they're so cool, and I want one so bad. Ruda can get stuff like that done, and you don't got to pay that $5,000 price tag. He's super talented. Wrestling companies use Joe Ruda. Like Joe Ruda is not just making these belts you're buying online that are junky. Like these are really good quality belts. He's established a great team over there, and man, I can't wait to have a personalized TWF one on my own to walk around with. I always said, man, this dude walk around with a title looks like a goddamn jabroni, but I'm going to be that guy too, because it's not just carrying a title, it's carrying around a piece of you and a piece of your brand.
Yes. And a lot of people see me with this. A lot of wrestlers and a lot of content creators make fun of me, but they don't realize that that's my brand. People don't realize
what's making me like excited for it and to do it is not so much so I can say I'm this or this is my thing, but it's to say I'm a TWF member. I'm, check out myself and Tony and look how great, like if I can put somebody else over, that makes me more happy than myself. And I can also say like, bro, this is Joe Ruda. Like, look at this title. Why would you not want one yourself? Here's like, hit him up. Like, let's take a photo together. Here's how to find this guy and go support him. You know what I mean? Like that title means more than just myself. And I think that's why I'm really excited for it.
It means a lot. It's as Ricky was saying in the chat, he gives you the gravitas. It really does. Blackwell, before you go, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to be here.
One of my longer podcasts. I appreciate this.
Yeah, 1 hour and 55 minutes to be exact. I talk a lot, so
I knew this one. I was ready for the long haul with us too.
This one's going, it's going long. Yeah. In closing, let me say this to you. I'm looking at the camera. Don't doubt yourself. We talked about this the other day, bro. Don't doubt yourself. The struggle's hard. It's not going to get easier. It's going to get harder as you get more notoriety. But deal with it. Take everything that's coming at you and just, bob and weave, dodge. You're going to get hit. You're going to get hit on the chin. Get up.
Well, I've been getting hit.
That's what happens, bro. Listen, Rocky says it's not about how hard you get hit. It's about how hard you get hit and if you get up or not. Yeah. Just keep getting up, man. Nobody's perfect. And your talent shows, and you're going to get there. And like I said, I do believe you're going to get there before me. And God bless you if you do. And when you do, don't forget your boy, because I need some subscribers too. But
who's going to surpass all of us? You know this, right? There's one person who surpass all of us.
Who's that?
Kira. As soon as she realizes that she wants that spotlight, it's like she's gonna dominate all of us.
Yeah, well, you know what? DS from Ring the Bell wants to do something with her. She's like, Kira doesn't realize it. But thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't liked already, please do. If you're not subscribed, something's wrong with you. Subscribe to this channel and follow him on all social media stuff. I know this is his channel, but I'm gonna still do the shtick. Follow ABJ. He's everywhere. He's Instagram. He's Twitter. He's freaking everywhere. And start sharing stuff more, guys. It takes 2 seconds to share these shows with your friends. Put it on your main page and say, hey, this is something you should watch. Even if they don't watch the whole show, let them click on it and watch it for 30 seconds. He gets a view. I get a view. Do some work.
And we're at the range now where, I'll be close to it very, very soon, where you just watching puts a little bit of bucks in our pocket. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man.
It's not costing you a dime, but like a video plays, maybe even in the background. You know what I'm saying? You're paying us. You're getting us money. You're making a major corporation pay us because you're willing to put us on your screen that doesn't cost you a dime. You're watching TV anyway. Throw us on there for an hour, and then you put a couple bucks in our pocket.
Yeah, man. We're poor. We're trying to get to a little bit more. You guys are quick. You guys are quick to support all these other guys that are rich. Help some people that don't have it, like us. Yeah. We need you. Thank you, Anthony, for having me tonight.
Give your shtick. Give your closer.
Oh, my closer?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Guys, for Anthony Blackwell Jr., my name is Tantalizing Tony. Guys, hug your family members because you're not promised tomorrow. Anthony, I know you don't like it, but guys, you got to pray, because if you don't pray, you're not going to make it today. And as always, for ABJ and everybody at the ABJ Podcast, do what I do best, and that's stay tantalizing.
Thanks for watching this presentation. Like, share, and subscribe for more.